Right, and then we're back in the stream again. So we're just going to carry on leveling through here on Felwood. So as part of this, we're just trying to go through Felwood and hopefully into Winterspring. And then by the time we finish Winterspring, we should be at a level where we can go to Outland. Then we'll go to level 17 Outland, and then go to Northrend. I want to do it in the correct order. Some people go straight for Northrend, but I actually want to go to Outland on this character.
Too far away.
I want to do the quests in order because I feel like I don't know, it just doesn't feel right to skip Outland. Even though some people prefer to skip Outland, I actually like Outland as a questing zone. I was saying this earlier, but yeah. There's certain zones in Northrend I don't enjoy. I don't like Sholazar Basin.
I do not have a target.
And I believe it was Borean Tundra I'm not the biggest fan of. It's okay. But I'm looking to go Howling Fjord, Grizzly Hills, and maybe Storm Peaks when we do Northrend. And then it's time for Cataclysm after that, which... Cataclysm. If we have to do Cataclysm, I'm going to do Twilight Highlands and Oldham, I believe. So in terms of expansion zones, my least favourite is Cataclysm zones. It's like aesthetically, yeah, okay, maybe the land's a bit there, but Warlords of Draenor, I actually really like the content in terms of how it looks, not how it plays, because what content, but things like Frostfire Ridge, you know, they did a really good job with the aesthetics of capturing uncorrupted Draenor. I think that Warlords of Draenor it got a lot more stick than it should have got, to be honest. I think that it wasn't nearly as bad as people made it out to be. Maybe I should train another pet. One of these messed up bears. Ugh.
I cannot attack that.
Not to use it, just to have another pet. I much prefer having my wolf, but I do need to tame some more pets.
I must get closer.
But I'm going to save that space for rares, so if I can get a hold of Arcturus while we're in Northrend, I'll be swapping the bear out for that. I might actually, when we get to Winterspring, ditch the bear for a polar bear. In fact, I'm going to get rid of this bear. Yeah, I want the polar bears. Yeah, because it's going to be, again, playing a Frostwolf. Polar bear makes more sense for a Frostwolf. Right, my buddy's going to head off now, so thanks for tuning in, mate. And hopefully, yeah, later on we could probably do some dungeons or something. We'll see what we can do. Good luck and have fun with the rest of your day, man. And I'm not going to be on for much longer myself, so... And then I'll be back on later. And then we'll see what we can get done. I want to try and get to level 50-ish, 55. Got half an hour anyway. See what we can do. I forget how quick leveling is now. I felt like it was going to take me a lot longer to get here.
I do not have a target.
So do I... Yeah, I need to look at pets that I want to train. Sorry, guys. What have I been tagged in here? Good old Facebook. Oh, God, hang on. Something about my toddler, no doubt. Just a heads up, guys, it's not illegal to call a toddler an asshole at any point, I just want to say. If you have a toddler, just remember that it's not against the law to call them an asshole or anything.
I am out of range.
Word of advice. Just not to their faces, because they'll start calling you an asshole, then you've got a problem.
I need to target something first.
I found out the other day that my toddler cannot say frog. It sounds like she's swearing when she says frog. I think you can guess what she's saying, but yeah.
Too far away.
I'd love to be able to play as a satyr. They'd be cool. Maybe just because it's me, your boy Satan, but you know.
I do not have a target.
They are cool. I'd love to be able to play as one, but they're not aligned to anyone. It's like, yeah, I'm going to play a satyr. I play on the Alliance.
I require a target.
I can imagine them being allied with the Horde just because they don't like the Night Elves. But they also don't like any of the mortal races of Azeroth, really. Because they're demons.
I am out of range. Target something first. I do not have a target. I need to target something first. I require a target. Target something first.
That was pretty good. We got a lot of... we killed quite a few of them there. I mean, I know we died a little, but... Rare we just killed.
I do not have a target.
Killed that rare in like no time flat. They'll be going on the auction house. Why you would equip those, I don't know, but... See how much EXP we get. Just want to check something real quick. I have to be level 58 to use my repeating longbow. I love this. there would be improvement, but because they're like off a rare mob, I could probably Jesus. Could be something for the auction house because we could probably get some decent money for it. So BOE, like rare BOE gear and epic BOE, it's one of those things where I prefer to sell it on the auction house if it's not a massive improvement. Because I mean, you could probably make some decent amount, cause especially on an RP server, which is what I do play on, an Argent Dawn EU RP server. It means that you can sometimes make some decent money on random transmog gear. Like, it's not even has to be good, it's just because people want it for their characters. It's like for the role players out there, it's interesting because that means that you can sometimes get some decent gear that's, you know, it's not hard to get. You have to kill the bosses, but you know.
Hello. I've been mixed.
Level 50. I'm sure it just said I'd... Yeah, there. I was just being blind. Apparently I can't see today.
Greetings, a shy fella.
So the quest we're going to do here is called an Arcane Ally. See me bending a lot. I've kind of had a bad back just for the last day or so, so I've just slept funny. I know exactly what I've done. Combine that with intense DDP yoga, and then you've got a recipe for... also, my back hurts is just a constant state. I hit 25, and after that my back has been hurting since.
What brings you here?
So, wait, we can Impsy and use the enchanted Imp sack to capture him. Okay. Just a second, guys. I need to check something. had to organise a few files there. Just because these video recordings, because they're high definition, they do take up a lot of storage space, and I want to make sure that we're not going to run into any issues while recording with space. Because what I found the other day was that my computer, I'd just been storing all these recordings that are several gigabytes large, and it started to get a problem for the storage. What I started seeing was that videos would sometimes stop recording randomly. It happened twice, and I think it's to do with the storage, so we're just going to make sure going forward that that's not happening, which is why every so often I just clear out the folder. And I was just making sure, because I'm splitting the recordings up into more sections, that I don't want that to be impacted. We captured Impsy. Little shit.
Listening. A shot for that.
So we need to get some cursed ooze.
I need to target something first. Require a target. I do not have a target.
Now look at the stuff I can actually craft, so... There's some interesting stuff here. I've never even looked at this. The Sentinel's Eternal Refuge. Sorry about this, guys. I'm just having a quick look. I've never seen this. You can make some interesting stuff then, can't you, really? battle-bound spoilers, stuff like that. It's all interesting. Make wayfaring. Oh, okay. There's some interesting stuff. Sorry, as I got sidetracked. I just wanted to see. I've never really done leatherworking, so I wanted to see the things you could do. I know it can be lucrative when you make pieces of armor and stuff for the auction house, especially for transmog reasons. Same reason I took up blacksmithing, so.
I need to target something first. Too far away.
That was easy. I would much rather gun them all down at once like that because it just makes questing simpler, I think. Because I keep forgetting as a hunter, it's like because I've got range, I can probably kill them before they're in melee range a lot of the time. And it means that I can take more on at a time, and I still have feign death. If I'm gonna die, I can get out of that situation with feign death. So. Claw of Tichondrius. The Mark of Tichondrius. So I shift here. I need to retrieve the claw. Are these like the Shadow Council or?
I do not have a target.
This is trippy though.
I need to target something first. I require a target.
Ah, yes. See that you know your judo well.
I do not have a target. I need to target something first. I require a target. I do not have a target. get closer.
That's a lot of demons.
I need to target something first. I require a target. I need to target something first. I am out of range. I require a target. I do not have a target. I need to target something first. I require a target. I do not have a target. I cannot attack that target. I cannot attack that. I need to target something first.
Hi, Inner Gamer. Hope you're all keeping good. Just adjusting my setup here so I can read the chat better. I've just had to charge my phone.
I do not have a target.
So we're a little later in the afternoon for this stream than we normally would be. So it's just for the sake of the fact that my kids needed me this afternoon. I also had a meeting with work this morning virtually on an app called Zoom I've never used before, which was interesting. It's basically just FaceTime, but we couldn't FaceTime. So let's have a look here. So now we've got to kill Zavathras, I believe. Oh, you use Zoom daily for school. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I've never used Zoom before. I usually just video call people on Facebook and WhatsApp, like family and stuff, especially during quarantine because they want to see my kids. Like, my mum and dad want to see with their grandkids, but it was interesting because you could tell who could use technology and who really couldn't. One thing that I like is that if I use it on my laptop, apparently, I've not done it, I did it on my phone, but you can green screen, so that you can cut out the background and put whatever you want on, so next time that happens, I'm just going to abuse the fact of that and just put memes in the background. Or just very unflattering pictures of myself pulling stupid faces as a background, so they have to look at two pictures of me while we're discussing. Yeah, green screen's definitely fun. There's a bit of an inside joke about The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, which is a program I used to absolutely love when I was growing up. So it'll probably just be a massively overstretched, overpixelated picture of Mr. Mosby from that as the background, just because I can. Or random places, so I can make it look like I'm outside. To be fair, I could just stick Orgrimmar as the background and it'd be fairly accurate. What's he doing? He's an Orgrimmar. Yeah, true, most of the time. Let's have a look here. We don't need to kill any more of these oozers, but they're annoying me, so let's shoot them Wait, I was gonna say shoot them in the face, but they don't really have a face. Shoot them in the globules? Okay, that sounded disgusting. I'm gonna take that back. Let's have a look here.
I need to target something first.
Oh, Christ.
I do not have a target.
I know I don't have a goddamn target. Let's have a look here.
I need to target something first.
I was targeting something. But so far so good with the hunter. I'm having a lot of fun with this. At level 51. Cool. So, yeah, I'm playing a hunter because I leveled my warrior up and I just thought to myself, well, the thing is I can do the Nyalotha content anytime because that doesn't end until Shadowlands, but this experience boost does end in 18 days. So what I'm going to do is focus on getting characters up to max that I want to level and take into Shadowlands. And I've never played ranged really before, so I'm playing Hunter this time. So I'm enjoying it so far. Beast Mastery is quite fun. I like my Warcraft lore, so playing a Beast Mastery Mag'har that's like from the Frost Halls. How do you get the XP boost? Okay, so the XP boost, well, I use heirlooms from max level stuff, so these give you 10% and 5%. Got 5 of those, and this here, if you just log into WoW at the moment, on a character you're leveling, it's Winds of Wisdom until the 20th of April. So even if you don't have heirlooms, you can get a boost by 100% of your leveling up until 20th of April. Because they know we're in quarantine and they know it sucks, so people are going to be playing a lot of WoW, and thus leveling their characters. So it is pretty cool because it means that characters that I wouldn't normally have the time to level, I can do. So I can spam a bunch of dungeons and quests on characters that I want to try because I want to avoid burnout. And the way I'm going to avoid burnout here is playing characters I've never bothered leveling, and I'm actually quite enjoying playing Hunter. It's a totally different style of gameplay. So, I'm scaring them with
I cannot use that item yet.
an image of what imps fear most, and I'm assuming that's colours
Not ready yet.
and rainbows, I guess.
That item is still recharging.
This is great. I just get to terrify them with a shiny thing.
I cannot use that item yet.
To be fair, they have the same reaction to someone suggesting to me I wear anything other than grey and black clothes. My top's got red on it, I suppose, but it's a Slipknot t-shirt, it's allowed. Let's have a look. Okay, so I knew there was a way up there. I didn't have to go all the way round. It's like I'm not some kind of peasant. Gold pot gloves or the rainbow band now. The gloves are probably better for me, level wise. Because I've still got the Outrunner's gloves of the Fire Lash. What's this? Oh, it's a toy I've already got, a rainbow generator. Great, cool. Well, I don't need that because I already have it. I've already done this quest clearly before, maybe on an old character. I don't even know. So I've got to go to the next place. I forget how nice these zones look, especially the wooded ones like Fellwood and Winter Spring. I forget how nice these zones actually are. Like, I really enjoyed leveling these zones way back when, and they're still as fun now, even with changes. Like, I just think all they've done is made it more streamlined as an experience. Sorry, I think I dropped something.
Elun Adore, Vishnu Allah.
How may I aid you? May the eternal sun shine upon thee. Winds be at your back.
the moment, we're just having a look at these quests. Sorry for adjusting. This is a kind of rickety chair. I'm still waiting for the chair I've planning to purchase, but we're in lockdown. Couldn't go out and buy the gaming chair I wanted from the place I wanted, the place I used to work. I used to work a place called Game here in England. I don't know, it's probably the equivalent of anyone who might be watching in the States or anything. It's like GameStop, something like that, I guess. I used to work there. And they've got some really nice chairs you can order in for a reasonable amount. I've had a look online, and they're kind of the same price, but I'd rather give money to the place I used to work, to be honest, rather than an online retailer. I did like that place. That was a lot of fun. I just didn't get enough hours to support the kids. Let's have a look. It's like if it was just me living by myself, I'd have stayed at Game, because it was enough for me to pay my bills and stuff. But once the kids needed something, it was like and I had to sort of choose between fun and finances, and it was not a choice anyone should have to make, but you know, needs must. Between fun and finances sounds like the most depressing name for a band I think I've ever just come up with right now. Like, what's up, guys? We're between fun and finances. This is some depressing shit you're about to listen to. Let's have a look here. Between funds and finances, a bunch of ex-bankers creating a metalcore band. Watch this space. I'm not even a banker, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Disengage. You are too close to me. Listen to the news. It says keep your distance. That's one thing as well. One thing that sucks about the lockdown is that I ordered some stuff to help me with quarantine, i.e. a mask to help filter out potential pollution and or pathogens in the air, where it's not guaranteed to help, but it supposedly could help. And that's not arrived, which means that every time I go to the store for essentials, I'm getting very nervous about breathing, and I'm like, what do you even do in that situation? You're just like, well, I need to go and buy things, because it's like asking somebody if they can live in their house without bread or anything to make meals. It's like, well, I'm not going to order takeout every night. I do have some level of respect for myself. It's like I'm not having a bad time emotionally at the moment. I have no need to emotionally eat pizza and mozzarella sticks every night. Trust me, if there was no weight gain consequences from that, I absolutely would. But I've just spent the best part of 9 months losing some weight for my own. Not that I desperately needed to, just for personal reasons. And I'd rather not ruin that with Papa John's, because it's very tempting, especially in lockdown. Oh, everyone goes outside without masks where you are? Cool. You see, I live in Sheffield in the UK, so I don't know where you're based, but Sheffield, UK, for myself, and we are the highest rate of infection for any city outside of London. So it's pretty scary, actually, when I think about the fact that London is the only place in the UK with more a rate of infection than where I live. Makes me not want to go outside. But I have to, because the kids need food, and I mean, I can make food from a lot of stuff. I cook from scratch anyway, so as long as I've got vegetables and like spices, I can make stuff. But it's but then it's we're the highest rate of infection outside of London, which is strange. I don't understand, because realistically speaking, I thought the population of my town was fairly sensible, but there has been videos put up on sort of spotted in Sheffield pages, if you like, where there are people ignoring quarantine rules, and that's why it's spreading. I mean, not everybody can ignore quarantine rules, so essential workers. So I've got friends who work for the National Health Service, people who work in supermarkets and stuff, because these are necessities for us. But at the same time, those of us that can avoid it and should practice social distancing should not be ignoring the guidance. And people are, sadly. We only have 400 cases in the city. I don't know how many cases we have, but I know it's the highest rate of infection outside of London. So second to the capital of the UK, we are literally second. So either people are being really dumb, or it's just because densely... To be fair, though, the close... Luckily, I live on the kind of outskirts of Sheffield, near a town called Rotherham. So I live on the outskirts of Sheffield, which means I'm not super densely populated here. We live in a sort of urban area, but like the closer you get to town, we've got a big university. We've got 2 big universities in our city, and the problem you have is that these universities, the student accommodation, while good, there's a lot of it and a lot of people in concentrated areas close to the city. So near where my mum and dad live, we live in a really nice area that you would believe was rural, but it's actually 5 minutes from the 10-minute walk from the university. So the close that you get off our streets, up past the row of shops and go down the hill, and you're practically at the university, and there's a lot of accommodation there, which means there's a lot of students or a lot of people in a very densely crowded area towards the town centre. And sadly, that means that the rate of infection is going to be higher. So, it's... I don't know how many cases we have in Sheffield, actually. That's a really good question. Let's have a look. Let's have a look here. I was having a quick look at the statistics. So this doesn't sound like a lot, but per 100,000 people there are 62 cases. So out of every 100,000, we've got that. So and we have 575,000 here. So it's not a huge amount, but enough to make that figure like at least so enough. Probably slightly more than 400 cases, but being as we are still behind the curve for places like Italy, it doesn't bode well for people who aren't practicing social distancing, because we don't know how bad it's going to get here yet. We look at places like Italy and think... I check the news every day. I mean, it's terrifying, and it's terrifying, and I would be less scared if I didn't have 2 young children. You know, I've got a 3-year-old and a 7-month-old at home here, and the thought of them getting sick is what scares me. It's not me getting sick. I had the swine flu and I was fine when that was going around. And you know, my immune system, while it sucks, it can fight things off. So it's not necessarily myself I'm worried for, it's more my family that I'm worried for. And that's why I don't want to leave the house without protective gear, i.e. a mask, gloves, and stuff like that. But it's crazy. I never thought it'd get to a point where I'd be afraid to leave my house, aside from just having anxiety. It's like, you know, I'm not really afraid to leave my house, I just don't like doing things without a reason. But at the same time, it's like being scared to leave your house because you might bring something back that could kill you. That's totally different. And it just means that yeah, younger kids should be very careful. I mean, both of my daughters had to go into hospital with something called bronchiolitis, which is not the same as bronchitis. It's an infant respiratory disorder. You can basically, when they get the cold virus, it gets on their lungs, and they both had that when they were very young. Now that means that they could, which means they both may suffer with asthma when they grow up. I mean, Esther, my toddler, already has an inhaler. So for me, I have asthma too, and I had a form of meningitis when I was a kid. So I used to have a liver condition when I was younger, which means that my immune system isn't great. Like, I am technically a high-risk immunocompromised group. So my asthma doesn't really get bad until the summer because it's to do with my pollen allergies. So it's hay fever that triggers my asthma. So hay fever triggers my asthma, and it's that, or when it's the extreme cold, or the pollen. And so I get classed as immunocompromised. My partner has a problem with her thyroid, which means she's also immunocompromised. And the kids have had problems with their lungs, so I don't want to take any chances. Not massive problems, but enough for me to think if they get if they get what's going around right now, it could do some serious damage, and I can't think about that. Which is why when someone said, "Are you going back to work?" it's like, until I am forced to do it, probably not. Like, I can work from home. My job is all on computers. But it's crazy times. But then also, the hope there is that, okay, so we're on the 2nd of April now. By the start of June, provided everyone practices social distancing and just looks after one another and doesn't do anything selfish, and we stop, and we just stop and think, do we have to leave for that? Is this necessary? We could have this could be over by June for us, but theoretically, or at least the social distancing could be. The actual thing itself could be around for God knows how long. But in terms of having to do all these measures to flatten the curve, it could all be over in less than 8 weeks if we just don't do anything stupid. Now, other places like the States, or places where it's behind, where it's not travelled as quick, I'm not sure. But I'm one of these people, I will read news articles, I will read thesis and theory. I'm a massive nerd and information sponge. So I will read every article I can on the theory behind what's causing this and what's causing the spread. There's also the theory that, much like the common flu, we could see a drop when the weather gets hotter. Maybe. If it does follow that theory, that makes sense. If it does react like the common flu, but at this stage, there's no, it's hard to tell. Also, something the common flu does, it mutates every single year. So, what we need to be. I know somebody who works in the hospital here. Well, I know somebody whose best friend works in the hospital, and I remember when and obviously testing is ongoing, and Sheffield is a scientific city. We're a medical-based city with a lot of scientific research that goes on here. And somebody I know had this friend who was working for the hospital who said they were handling literal samples of the pandemic because they're researching how to beat it. And I couldn't work in that environment. Knowing that I hold something that dangerous, I'd be like, nah, I'm too clumsy. I'm going to drop this and this is going to be a disaster. And I remember when this all started, and I was like, it's just an overreaction, everyone's going to be fine. And I'm eating those words now, but it's not an overreaction anymore. It's, and it was that attitude that got us into this situation, so, I was one of those people that thought, it's fine for now. And then the lockdown happened, and I was like, oh. But it's fine. It's okay to be wrong, just admit you're wrong. Let's have a look at something. I'm just going to end this YouTube part, and then we're going to start again with another part for YouTube, but we're not going to end the stream yet. Not just yet, we've got a little bit of time left.